Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tia here. If you are new, please like and subscribe. For today's video, I'm going to be making a video about customers stealing from retail stores or whatever. So basically, I used to work at JCPenney. It was my first time working retail. I hated it. Managers were low-key annoying and weird and whatever. I'm going to make my JCPenney story time eventually about the manager situation. But anyways, I feel like I didn't know that this much people were actually stealing from stores until I actually worked at one, right? Because obviously we hear about like, oh, go through the self-checkout because then, you can take your own stuff and then scan it or switch the tags or do whatever in order to like, steal from the store, right? But I didn't know people were actually doing that shit, right? But at JCPenney, we don't have self-checkouts, obviously. Like, like at the mall, they don't have self-checkouts because it's an actual store. So pretty much like there would be cases to where customers would switch the tags, and I feel like I never really noticed this because half the time I didn't really give a fuck anyways. So basically there would be like an older lady or maybe someone younger or whatever, and they would come up with like a couple of the bed sheets or whatever. And bed sheets, they all cost different sizes, like a full, queen, king, right? So they would pretty much switch the tag of a king size sheet for like a regular full size sheet, right? And that's basically like a whole $20 difference. And I would just scan it and I would see like, oh, sheet set, whatever, call it a day, right? And then there would be other situations to where people would buy like an entire bed set to where like it comes with like the fitted sheet, the flat sheet, the pillowcases, whatever, and like the comforter, and that would be like $50 or $100 or whatever. And then they would switch the labels with that too, and I would have to get it confirmed because I was like, there's no way this whole package deal that includes a comforter only costs $20, right? Unless it's just on sale or it's cheap or whatever. So I would have to call a manager over. The manager would be like, oh no, it looks like these tags got switched. And then the person would be standing there like, and I would be like, oh damn. Like me personally, I was just like stupid back then. So I thought like genuinely somebody like mistagged the sheet set or whatever. Whole time it was a damn customer just switching the stickers on stuff, right? And then when I worked upstairs in the women's department, they basically have like a checkout counter in women's and in men's, and then like men's has a fitting room, women's has a fitting room or whatever. So basically there would be people, most likely teenagers, on Saturday, they would go into the fitting room, and we don't have the thing how like they tell us like how much items they have and that they're taking into the fitting rooms or whatever. So people could like, they were allowed to take whole like shopping carts into the fitting room. They were allowed to take their bags from other stores into the fitting room. So I'm pretty sure there was multiple instances where you had teenagers going in there with bags from other stores, right? And then they would come into our store, shop around, go in there with a handful of clothes, go into the fitting room, and then they would only come out with like half of that handful full. Or they would put some of them back on the rack, and then they would walk out, and instead of coming to me to check out, they would walk straight out those doors, right? So then like they clearly put that stuff in the shopping bags that they already had, right? Or they stuffed it in their pants, or they just put like a jacket on top of the shirt that they were already wearing and all that stuff. So I'd be like, oh, what the fuck, y'all are actually stealing from this shit, So then I would go into the fitting room and I would look under the chairs or like behind the door, and there were tags stuffed under the crack in the door, right? Or they were like stuffed under the cushion in the chair, and I'm like, bro, y'all are for real stealing clothes? Like I thought this was fake. So this store like was so easy to steal from, so I could see why people were doing that shit, I understand, okay? And I don't really blame people for doing it, and me personally, I don't really care when people steal, okay? I'm like, good for you, you got some free stuff, especially when they're like stealing like some baby clothes or whatever. I'm like, good for you, because there's no way in hell a pair of some baby leggings should cost $5 or $10 when they're made for 2 cents in the factory, right? So me personally, I don't knock people who shop as long as there's like, I don't knock people who steal as long as they're stealing from like big brand name stores, because like those name stores, first of all, they won't even notice the difference, and they could just order hella more stuff if they wanted to, right? But the only thing that I hate is when people steal from like family owned businesses that type stuff, right? Because then it's like handmade stuff that takes time to be made. So it's like, why are you stealing from them when you could just go to Walmart and steal and they won't notice, right? So I don't know, but you have to also watch out because apparently like Target and stuff like that, they like keep track of your purchases, and then they just wait till you have like $1,000 of stolen merchandise, and then that's when they call the cops, because then it could be like a felony rather than just like, you know, catching you for stealing a piece of gum or something like that, right? So I don't know. I feel like working in the mall was a weird experience, and I don't know if, like, I wouldn't judge people who steal though, because sometimes it would be like old people, young people. It wouldn't really be a lot of men, I'd notice either. And then a lot of people think like it's always the black people stealing stuff. No, whole time, most of the time it was literally like white women, because they are like undetected, or like you would never suspect like a rich looking white woman to steal stuff. Whole time they be stealing stuff more than other people. So yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend anybody to be working in retail, because I don't get paid enough to like chase people down and stuff like that. And then there was like, even when I worked in the makeup section, there was like some teenagers who stole some makeup, and we're not supposed to like chase them down or anything. So I just told the security on the walkie-talkie, and he was like, who was it? What did they look like? And then I gave him a description. He ran out into the mall after them, and then he got the makeup back that they stole. And apparently they were stealing from like other stores in the mall too, like, you know, Claire's, Hot Topic, H&M, whatever. They were stealing from other stores too. And then he made them return the stuff to each of those stores. And I was like, okay, you know, because me personally, like, I don't care, like I said, but it's like since they were teenagers, I was like, oh, let me teach them a lesson or whatever, because like you can actually like go to jail depending on like the amount of stuff you stole, obviously. Like, or imagine if they stole like some jewelry from our jewelry section that they had. Like, sure, it's not real gold, it's not real silver, you know, but it's like they got to learn a lesson. And they only look like they were maybe like 13 or 14, right? And I'm like, dang, that's crazy, because when I was 13 or 14, I was not even thinking about stealing stuff or, you know, anything like that. Like, if anything, like if my mom caught me doing that, or if she had to like come to the police station or come to the mall, talk to the mall cops, she would have been pissed off. I would have got my ass beat, you know. So I've never stolen from any stores like that. Like, I would steal stuff that's already on the ground, like some broken off stuff that's already broken on the ground. That's the stuff that I would take. But yeah, that was the end of this video. Stay tuned for more. Bye.